It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so the next fighter we're going to talk about in our prospect review video series is going to be that man right there. Ventura, California's very own 140-pound prospect, Ricardo Ruvalcaba. Now, Ricardo Ruvalcaba, really interesting fighter because, you know, he's been on some top-ranked cards. Very tall for the weight class. This guy's 6 foot tall for the weight class. So think about the same type of frame that a guy like Sebastian Ventura has. Think about that for Ricardo Ruvalcaba. You know, that's the kind of frame he has. Very tall, very lanky. But as far as him and his boxing career, I mentioned the height, 6 feet tall for 140. That's huge. He's an absolute gargoyle. As far as his sparring goes, he sparred some names you guys, the boxing fans, would know. Prime names, household names. He sparred with Ryan Garcia. He sparred with Raul Valenzuela. And he sparred with Elvis Rodriguez. Now, all those fighters I named are on the West Coast in California. A lot of those sparring sessions, from the pictures I saw, were at the esteemed Wild Card Gym, somewhere that Ricardo Ruvalcaba seems to frequent pretty frequently. So when you're sparring them guys, those are all good fighters. You know, Elvis Rodriguez, high level 140-pounder. Ryan Garcia is one of the most naturally talented fighters in the entire weight class. And then Raul Valenzuela, you saw what he did to Chris Colbert his last fight, and you know that he's still a fighter who could get better himself. So, you know, good work there for him. And then as far as his style, he's a well-conditioned volume puncher that actually knows how to fight tall. You know, I went ahead and I did do my film study on Ricardo Ruvalcaba. I watched one of his last fights that he had. It was against Marcos Cardenas, and it was back in 2023 in March. And in that fight, you know, I thought he showed an excellent blend of boxing skills, aggression, pressure fighting, volume punching. You know, that's probably the one thing I would say about Ricardo Ruvalcaba that I like about him the most, is the fact that despite being such a tall man, he actually boxes tall. Like, because there's so many fighters in boxing like Callum Smith, Sebastian Ventura, guys that are really big for the weight class, really tall for the weight class, but they routinely give up their size and they like to fight on the inside, and I feel like they just make their lives a little bit harder. So it's refreshing to sometimes see a fighter that has the skills and the comfortability to fight, you know, as a tall man. So you got that. Now, he had one blemish on his record. Back in May of 2022, he fought Mexican journeyman Eliezer Carrillo, who was at the time 24, 21, and 5, and got a draw in an 8-rounder. So, you know, that was his one blemish. Other than that, it's been pretty smooth sailing. One thing about boxing that we know is that a lot of times when you fight these Mexican fighters that have those records that look like that, you know, the 24, 21, and 5, the 11, 7, and 4, you know, them records where there's a lot of blemishes, you know, a lot of times those could actually be your hardest fights, and they don't look like it on paper, but it just happens so many times throughout boxing history. Guys fight these Mexicans with those records, and you know, it winds up being a lot harder than it should be. So, you know, little blemish, but so far been a real smooth sailing career for him. So we'll see what happens for him. I don't think he's signed yet to anybody. I know he's been on top ranked cards, but he's not signed officially to anybody. So right now, as it stands, he's obviously only 12 fights into his pro career, but Ricardo Ruvalcaba is someone that, you know, with a win or two more, I would say with maybe two, I'm gonna say he's about 3 wins away from really cracking, you know, the top 25, the top 15, the top 10 in the world at 140, and really being a factor. Let's have a look at it actually, because right now he's number 98 in the world on BoxRec. He's not ranked by any of the 4 governing organizations. So who could be next for Ricardo Ruvalcaba? You know, right now he's 98. So if you look just above him, you got Myquan Williams ranked at 96. Myquan Williams is a good fighter. He fought Trayshawn Wiggins. Got a draw with him. Good fighter. He's fighting on Pro Box on the 17th of January. So that's a good little fight if they can make that. You got Pablo Cesar Cano, the veteran fighter who's been around the block, a veteran of over, you know, almost 50 fights in the pros. I would like that fight for Ricardo Ruvalcaba. You got John Bowers at number 92. We know Bowers has, you know, fought Richard Hitchens, fought Michael Williams Jr. That's a good fight. Cletus Selden, the Hebrew Hammer. You got him. So there's fights up there for Ricardo Ruvalcaba to go ahead and look into. And yeah, I just think with his combination of size, volume, and even a little bit of boxing skills, he's going to be an interesting fighter to watch at 140. Now, we don't know how these guys are going to develop. Sometimes these guys, they had that step up and they get put in a body bag. Sometimes they get put under a little pressure and they shine like a diamond. So we don't know what's going to come with Ricardo Ruvalcaba, but there's definitely some interesting things. I think, you know, from what I've gathered about him, he's one of these fighters that's very to himself. He's got like a family, from what I gathered looking at his Instagram. You know, he's someone that I just think is a serious fighter, a no nonsense fighter, a guy that's just trying to make his way into the boxing game like anybody else. And with that frame he has, and with the conditioning he has, and the amount of volume he's able to throw, I think he's going to be an interesting fighter to watch. You know, I like to see him continue to work on those boxing skills from the outside, work on those feints, work on that jab, and he'll have a big future in this division if he ever perfects the art of fighting tall. But that's obviously something you develop over the years. You know, he's only 34 rounds deep into his pro career, so he's got a lot of experience to be had in his career, a lot of styles to see. And that'll all come in time. But yeah, those are my preliminary thoughts on Ricardo Ruvalcaba. I will definitely be looking out to see what he does next in his boxing career. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you got anything to add about Ricardo Ruvalcaba, please do. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe, like I say in every single one of these videos. You can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dang It. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.